Hello, Wasteland! Yes, welcome back, brothers! That's right, it is time for Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for July 2022, the Summer Holiday Edition. That's right, my goodness. I think we need a change of scenery here, boys and girls, because it has been a blistering hot summer this year, hasn't it? Oh my goodness. And what can I say? You guys have been turning in some fantastic builds this month. Absolutely fantastic. Hands down some of the best I've seen in a long time. And what can I say? I'm glad I'm involved in this community because I do love to see some of the crazy off-the-wall things you guys can come up with. But without further ado, let's jump into the show. So, the sponsor this month was our very own John Irvine over at Modelmatic UK. That's right, one of the finest importers of all of your favourite toy car brands from across the globe. Oh, what can I say? If you've not checked out the Modelmatic website by now, what are you doing with your life? Do you live under a rock? Do you not like toy cars? Because this is the place to go to find those really specific, hard to find, like niche cars from TV shows and films, you know, right off the big picture screens. We're talking, you know, we're talking all your favourites. We're talking Supernatural. We're talking Dukes of Hazzard. We're talking the Back to the Future DeLorean. We're talking everything you could ever want over on the Modelmatic website, so check it out. And what is the prize for this month? So, as previous, we have got a prize for first place as chosen by ourselves here on the admin team. And then John Irvine over at Modelmatic will choose his own sponsor's choice favourite. Now, the awards in both cases are mystery boxes of vehicles from Modelmatic's extensive collection of toy cars. So, these are usually filled with some of the best toy cars you will find online, okay? If you wanted to instantly increase your collection overnight, this is the way to do it. This competition right here, boys and girls, is the way to play. So, thank you once again, John Irvine, for your incredible generosity and patronage to this competition. So, considering just how blazing hot it's been across Europe and, well, all around the world, to be fair, and it driving absolutely everyone insane with the heat, there could be only one theme suitable for July's competition. That's right, the sponsor decided we had to build convertibles out of hardtop cars. Because anyone can just buy a ready-made convertible. No, it takes true madness to take something that's not a convertible, chop that hardtop off, and make it summertime ready. Oh yes, what a month, what a absolute banger of a theme. Thank you so much. And without further ado, let's jump right into the show, boys and girls. So let's look at everyone who finished this month. That's right, we have Adam Pollard, Andrew Ferber, Benjamin Pop, Braden Wachtel, Colin Harvard, Dan Mumford, Daniel White, Gerwin Berghorst, Hardo Padjus, James Hall, Keith McAvoy, Kev Williams, Kilgore MJ, what is this last name? Lorne Sveinbjorgsen. Lorne, how do I pronounce your name? Mark Daniels, Matt Andrews, Matt Morrill, Matt Taylor, all the Matts. Michael Dunmeyer,
Mick van Vijven,
Dominaro Molinique. It was going to happen. I was going to do that one day by accident. Molinaro Dominique. Nick Prolix, Princept One, Richard Hubbard, Tony Peacock, William Burke, and of course, Zach Steiner. Ah, what a fantastic month we've had this month, boys and girls. Now, before we go too far, we do have to, as always, point out those who came so close to the mark but didn't quite make it. And I'm not talking about the wooden spoon. There is no wooden spoon for this month, alright? You all did pretty damn well, okay? Even yourself, Keith, you've upped your game since last time, so don't you worry about it. But Dirk, we've got to talk, okay, Dirk? You submitted one photo. The minimum is 5, the maximum is 10. Now, you emailed your photo in, and that's really good, but you only submitted one photo. It's a minimum of 5 photos, so different angles, different shots of your build. We can't make a video of just a static picture on the screen, okay? More than 5, minimum of 5, Dirk. I know you can do it. I know you've been entering the competition for a while now. Try again in August, all right? I want to see you there, my friend. And let's start with Matt Taylor's entry. And what can I say? This is a wonderful image of a convertible. This is the picture we all have in our mind's eye when we think about chopping the roof off of a great big family car and turning it into a beach-ready summertime car. Look at that. I love it. I love the passengers. I love the rear gunner with the twin heavy machine guns. He's ready to do some damage. I think this is a very cleanly executed build, which is, a bit ironic because of all the dirt and chipping and rust effects. But what's killing it for me, Matt, and I love you, it's the fine detail work. It's the lettering on the cool AF rear bumper. It's the little smiley face on the back of the rear gunner's chair. Like, I like it, but you just need a finer tip brush or a steadier hand or a fine pen or something. And I will say this, like I like the passengers, I like the detail there, but let's clear some of this up. Like the yellowy browns on some of these chairs, you do one layer and that's it. Like you need to go back, you need to relayer that because it's a bit washed out, it's a bit muddy, and it doesn't, look 100%. But all in all, this is very nicely done. Like I do like the use of cancelled design parts, like on the big block Chevy engine on the front and the Ram, and it's very macho. It's very machismo, this build. I like it. Fantastic stuff, Matt. I look forward to seeing you in August's competition. Now let's move on to Kev Williams' entry, and oh, what can I say, Kev? I love the use of chopping off that hardtop and then turning that into a functional trailer on it. Fantastic stuff. I mean, there are little modelling bits and pieces that would need touching up. Like, I think what gets me is that the trailer connector is so thick. That is such a thick, meaty bit of pipe. And it's only kind of outweighed by just how thick the rope holding those oil barrels to the trailer is, because that rope, that's some horsehair stuff right there. I'm going to guess you use some like string or a hair bobble or something, because that's very thick. Take it from someone that did the whole strapping things down look this month. You want to use thread. You want to use thread that's quite... The actual individual threads are quite thick, but the actual, the width of it is small because it's too big. It's too big. It doesn't look quite right. And I think that's the only thing letting this build down, because that is a fantastic, super simple, super effective conversion idea. All the little extras, the passengers, the side bits, they all fit perfectly. I love the little teddy bear sticking out the side. What a fantastic use of bits from different manufacturers. It's just the tightening up now. That's the thing. We get into this stage now where these builds are so good that we have to start picking little tiny details apart because the rest of it's so nicely done. But yeah, what an entry. Very nice. And then following on the back of Kev's, we have Richard Hubbard's entry. Yes, Richard, I'm absolutely enchanted by your convertible mechanism that you've built there. I think that's great. I think it's great you made like a little system. I do like it when you guys go above and beyond, because it just had to be a convertible. It didn't have to be a working convertible, which is where some of these entries just shine. They just absolutely glow with their technique. Now, Richard, I love you, buddy, but we got to talk about this paint job, all right? I can see what you're going for, because white, yellow, orange, these are quite hard colours to paint. And you've gone for the two-tone body, which I really like. But you've got to get some variety in this. And what I mean is these white panels are so dirtied up that you can't necessarily see where one section of it starts and the next section begins. It's like the dry brushing on the guy's jeans on the back seat there. Like it looks like snow. It's so heavy. It doesn't need to be that bright. there's just things that don't quite add up, and I think it's the thickness of the application. And also a little bit of scale. Like if you compare those guys' the guy in the back, right? You compare his legs to the size of those wine bottles, those Molotov cocktails. Those things would be like what, 3-litre bottles or something. They'd be crazy massive compared to him. He's only a little guy. What can I say? It's always quite a strange build. Like there are sections of this, like the tracks, that are just dying out for a wash to separate out those brown sections, but then there are other areas like the door panels on either side of the main body, and they're just hidden, they're buried. You need to go back in, do some black lining. It's hard and it takes time, but it's worth it, my friend. No, absolutely fantastic entry, very nicely done, Richard Hubbard. Right then, and now let's have a look at Michael Dunmire's entry. Oh my goodness. Keep it simple, keep it mean, keep it green. Oh, what a nice army man entry, Michael. It's one of those. It's very simply executed. There's no faffing about, no super special techniques. Just get the hard top off, make it a convertible, and there you go. And I want to point out, those headlights are very clean and very silver. I'd be interesting to hear how you managed that. Is that painted over the top? Did you mask that area off? I know some of the guys, like Matt Morrill, he likes to drill out his headlights to get that sort of shine to them. I get the feeling maybe he used a special paint. But no, very nicely done. The army men, they're a bit recognisable. They're a bit World War II. They blur together a little bit. I know you've got a mix of German and American sort of GIs there. I don't know. It's one of them. It's a green, era appropriate vehicle, so that's fine. We should probably talk about the little trombones or whatever those things are on either side. Jet engines, maybe? But wouldn't they just obliterate the tyres? I don't know, but a nice entry. There are areas to touch up. I think it needs a decal or something. It needs something to break up the sea of green. You've got what we like to look at as the opposite end of the scale when it comes to the clutter problem. A lot of us will try and put too much rubbish on our builds, and then you can kind of get lost and confused looking at all the stuff going on. There are these massive, beautiful, flat panels of this bodywork that are calling out for something, whether it's a little bit of stowage or a paint job or a bloody handprint or something. You gotta break up the flat angles. But that's a great entry. Thank you so much, Michael. And then let's have a look at both Colin Harvard and Benjamin Pop. Yes, they both decided to enter this month. I think other than Matt Reeve, everyone took part this month. But I'm sure he'll take part at some point. But in honour of Colin and Ben, let's review both of their builds at exactly the same time. Alright, so if we got Colin, one end of the scale about your build, my friend. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. Ben's coming. Alright, who am I kidding? That'd be insane. Alright, so Colin, let's talk about your build, my friend. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. 0 out of 10. You need to take this back to the drawing board. What a mess. I have never seen such an appalling model job in all my life. Wooden spoon to Colin Harvard. No, what can I say? It's nicely done. It's nicely done. I do like the fine nail art decals on either side, because the trying to get a bombshell kind of image, trying to do that as a transfer is really, really difficult. So I don't blame you at all for that. I want to say, is the entire front engine 3D printed? Because I can see that the blower is, and I wouldn't be surprised if the actual body of it is. And I can see that the front radiator is, of course, with those typical lines. There's got to be a way to file them or something to clear that up. I also want to say, is the front blower, is that like a miscast or something? There's some damage on there. It's not 100% clean and perfect. I don't know. I'd maybe do a bit of repair work or something like myself before submitting it. Oh, this is the thing. I have to criticise you, because at the end of the day, you're one of the big boys, Colin. You've won this competition before. If I can't criticise you, then no one can. But no, I know you're a bit reticent to go completely Wasteland with it, but I think the additions that you have made, the machine gun, the woman, the female driver with the gun in her hand, very nicely done. It's just taking it that next step, isn't it? And it is a cleanly executed build. Fantastic. And you always say that you don't have time to enter this competition. Come on, Colin. Get involved like the rest of us. Good man. Right then, and of course, Benjamin Pop. My goodness, if we got one end of the scale represented by Colin stuck back in the 1950s, then Ben's coming here from the year 2035. My goodness, look at this thing. I think Colin's suggestion of Tequila Sunrise as a name is a pretty apt choice, because look at that beautiful paint job. And like a man of culture like myself, I can see that you've taped off your stripes on the side, which is the correct way to paint stripes, boys and girls. Now, all the body kit modifications are really cleanly done. I love the exhaust kind of scoop at the back. I think that is a fantastic addition. The cherry red of the rear brake lights, just absolutely completes the look. And the little dog on the passenger seat is adorable. I think for me, where things kind of go off kilter is this is a very dark future build. It's very modern. It's very sleek. I'm a rough and ready Wasteland kind of guy, and that's where our kind of tastes diverge. But I think for me, it's the cambering on the wheels. It doesn't make any sense to me, because in a dusty mountainous wasteland, you just gonna get stuck in the filth. But if you're in like a post-apocalyptic city with nice roads, it makes perfect sense. So it's just a taste thing. I don't blame you at all. Spikes on the front tyres. Yeah, it really is. It really is a cleanly done build. Very nicely done, Benjamin. And then let's have a look at Daniel White's entry. Oh, Daniel, what are you doing to me, my boy? I am absolutely in love with the mechanism you've made for that sort of armadillo cloak of a convertible hood. Love it. Absolutely love it. The use of Zynga Industry exhausts to make a multi-tube rocket system in the boot, in the back of the car. Oh, stroke of genius, of mad genius. And all the little fine details and weathering. My goodness, man. I love the paint job on this at the back. At the front and the sides, it's a bit dirty and it's a bit hard to see what's going on. The front especially, I'd have gone for something different on the front end. Like the engine, the front ram, the wheel arches, it's all blurring together in one shade of sort of browny, gunmetal-y, grey, bluey, rusty, bleh. But you look at the back end of this thing and oh my goodness, it's to die for, because it's all so clearly separate. Love it. Absolutely love it. What a solid build, Daniel. But, and there is always a but, as I said, the engine blurs in too much with the front end of the build. Like, if you just made those engine blocks on top, if you just painted them red, oh my goodness, that would pop so well. Or any colour, green or blue or yellow or whatever. But just that burst of colour on the front would stand out like a neon beacon compared to the rest of it, because it is a bit uniform. It's like the interior is all brown, just one coat of solid brown with a wash, and there you go. Give me a driver. It's an open-topped build. I know when you're doing something with a working mechanism, all of a sudden you've got to think about where people's arms are sticking out, and oh, what if I put this spear arm out, then it will hit the thing and come off, and oh. But you could have put a driver in there, okay? You could have put some stowage on the back seats, like some extra rockets or something to chuck into those mortars, like just something. Because I think mechanically, overall, it works quite well. I think the armadillo effect is pretty stunning. A bit big. It's a bit chunky. The mechanism at the back seems a bit overly large. But I understand, like, this is the thing. Hell, I've never made one of these. As I said to you, if I was to try this, I would have gotten frustrated before I finished it and just snapped the sodding thing off, So no, I absolutely adore the work you've done here, Daniel. I think there's some areas you could push this a little bit further, but all in all, Fantastic work. I look forward to taking you on in August's competition. And then we have Matt Andrews' entry. Oh, following up with the rear-mounted rocket systems. Oh, Matt Andrews, you do not disappoint. I absolutely adore this entry. Look how beautiful that purple and green just pop amongst all the filth and dirt. Like the streaking at the back and that leather effect that you've made on that custom soft top. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, I find the gun is too massive. I think that's because I tend to try and, even in a tiny sort of degree, I like to try and lean towards realism. I know a lot of my builds aren't realistic, but that would weigh so much the back axle would just shatter under the weight of the sodding thing. But that's the thing. It's Gaslands, it's toy cars. It doesn't have to be 100% realistic. And I can still appreciate just how beautifully executed this is. Like, I love the purple on the driver's sleeves. I love the highlighting there. I love the shattered windscreen mirror effect and how that blue just jumps out at you compared to the purple bodywork. I think the dirty kind of sand effect is a little too watered down. I mean, we're driving around in a dusty wasteland. We're not driving around in a peat bog or quicksand, all right? And I know a lot of trendy YouTubers like to use like pigment powders and things, but you want it dusty. You don't want it slushy. But the fact that those are the things that I have to criticize, it's just so well done, Matt Andrews. Absolutely a fantastic entry. And then on the back of Matt Andrews, we of course have Dominique Molinaro. I actually wrote it down wrong. I was going through the names and I wrote down Dominaro Molinique. It's the curse. That's it. Once you make the mistake, you can never come back. Molinaro Dominique. What can I say? Peace in acid and dip in the wave of nutilation? Nutilation? Cutilation? That's okay. You lost me there. Dip in the wave of mutilation. Beautiful, beautiful work. It is an incredibly technically perfect build, isn't it? Look at this. The paint is beautiful everywhere it's located. The ooze effects are, well, I know realistic and kind of surrealistic don't necessarily go hand in hand, but my God, those little acid droplets at the back, they look liquid. They look like they're gonna slip onto the road and just dissolve the tires of the guy behind. Everything's so nicely done. My goodness, Molinaro. You really do continue to push the bar for yourself and for others in this competition. I still maintain that you need to dirty up your builds. Painting a little bit of rust around the back and sides of the wheel arches and the body does not count as dirtying up your build, alright? I want to see less of the colour, I want to see more of the rust and the filth. And at the same time, it's keeping that wonderful, wonderful aesthetic that you go for. It's absolutely surrealistic and mad. I know that you're a bit burned out on the windscreen because of the misting that happened, but it's these kind of learning scenarios that we improve our skills with. So do not despair, Molinaro. What a fantastic build, and I look forward to seeing what you can bring in August's competition, baby. And then, of course, if we're talking about outrageously good builds, how could I not talk about Mick van Fyven? That's right, Mick, I learned how to pronounce your name. It only took me about a month. Alright, okay, so what on earth do we have here, boys and girls? So this is a great big four-legged, swamp-walking, ocean-dwelling, I don't know, I get the feeling it could walk in like low rivers and streams and maybe reservoirs. Oh my goodness, this is over a quarter of a kilo in weight. This thing is an absolute behemoth, isn't it? What kills it for me, Mick, is does this really hit the theme, the requirement of a convertible build? And I know that you did all that beautiful, like, handcrafted work to make it a convertible. I know that this thing used to have a roof and you've chopped that off. It's just the convertible aspect is a tenth of the rest of this build. This build is massive compared to the itty bitty little driver section at the front. I can't knock you for your execution here because it's so nicely done. What an entry. What an absolute titan of an entry. I think it really comes down to the nuts and bolts of does this match the theme? And it's a convertible theme. But you did take a hard body car and cut the roof open and make it convertible. So I don't know. All I can say is it's beautifully done. It's a walker, isn't it? It's not exactly a four wheels on the ground goes brum brum like a car. It's a steppy step kind of robot, but so beautifully done. The execution, everything, just everything, Meg. My goodness, behave yourself. And the little sailor that you made. Oh, what a nice little touch. Because that can be a whole challenge in of itself, trying to make something that fine. No, really, really well done. You should feel proud for what you've managed to accomplish. Especially seeing as you see the starting photo and it gives nothing away as to what you're going to make. Nothing at all. No, fantastic work. Absolutely brilliant, Mac Van Fyven. And I do look forward to seeing you, to take you on myself in August's competition. I love when you got the bits of copper pipe and you're trying to turn that into a housing for the legs. Like, oh, you know you're in for a long haul and that's what you're fiddling with. Oh boy, we've all been there, my friend. And finally, last but not least, we have your friend and mine, Kilgore MJ and the Murder School Bus. Ah, what a build, Kilgore! What a build! And this is the kind of off-the-wall thinking I think a lot of us were leaning towards when the competition theme got announced. It's like, oh man, a convertible! I can turn anything into a convertible. It could be an ambulance. It could be a van. It could be a school bus. Oh yes. Now, theme, execution. Oof. We're struggling. I'm struggling a bit. My heart's fluttering a little bit here, Kilgore. Like those chains, they look they look like they're from a Lego set. They're a bit plastic. They're a bit big. The people inside are a bit indistinct, and I'd like a bit more work on them. The paint job is functional. The design is solid. It's just execution. Tidy it up. Tidy up the fine details. Because it's a good build. This is a convertible school bus. Like, there's no arguing that. It's just tidying up by going back over areas that might get a little bit lost, or might seem a little bit glued on. Like, you take, for example, the barbed wire on the left side of the bus. Fantastic. You look at that little bit of corrugated iron covering the side. Fantastic. The chain, it's a bit big, and I can see the glue marks. But it's on there, it's functional. And then you see the metal paneling or wood paneling around the track. That's where you need to focus on, my friend. And that's, it's one of them. Like, you got some little bits to indicate that it's held on, but nah, that's where you need more work, more fine tuning, more attention. But no, what a beast of a build. Using the cannon on the back of the bus so that the propulsion of the cannon would just throw it forwards. Your face here. Fantastic work, Kilgore. And you might all be thinking, oh, it's another one of James's videos. He's going to talk about his own build. No, I'll save that for a different video. But before we get into that, we need to announce the winner. So, without any further ado, start the drum roll, boys and girls, because the winner for Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for July 2022 is Kev Williams. That's right, Kev. Come on down. Now, I know what you're all thinking. There will be stunned silence. There'll be people crying out for blood in the streets. Now, I want you all to understand that we spent the last 2.5 weeks trying to pick a winner. We had, what, 27 finished entrants. We had so many amazing finished entrants. So, I mean, I couldn't even talk about, like, Nick Prolix or Matt Morrill or Mark Daniels or all these amazing finished entries, even my own. But we had to boil it down to one. We had to boil it down to one winner. And the simple fact of the matter is, when you look at Kev Williams, but like this had it divided, okay? First place and sponsor's choice, we were divided down the middle in the admin team. We could not decide. We had to hold a second round of voting to pick. And Kev Williams, ultimately, at the end of the day, the conversion is so simple and it just screams Gaslands. This is the thing. I know a lot of you guys are looking at this and you're going, oh, well, that paint job's not up to scratch and the conversion's simple and look at the rope at the back of the trailer. And the thing is, you make one change to this. You change that rope on that trailer. You take some better photos and all of a sudden, it's very apparent that this is an absolutely rock solid build. Like, it's so cleanly executed. The additions are simple. The rust effects are spot on. The figures are painted beautifully. The extra little details like the stowage and the little teddy bear and those oil drums, it's all spot on. Like, there's nothing here that really jumps out and says, oh my goodness, what a big wobbler, other than that rope at the back. But that is a 2-minute fix, boys and girls. And sometimes that is the difference. This is the art theory versus art ethics kind of argument that we got into. And that's why this took so long, because there are some brilliant entries this month. And sometimes it is hard as nails to pick a winner. Like I said, 2.5 weeks to decide a winner, right? Normally we get this stuff smashed out in 24 hours, but this time, no. We had to really sit down and go over this. And this is a Gaslands build. This is a Wasteland build. There is no denying it. You cut this in half and it bleeds oil and radiation, okay? This is a solid post-apocalyptic convertible build with that wonderful added flair that the hardtop has been turned into that trailer, which has not been done before, and that is a fantastic technique, and I'll fight any of you that thinks otherwise. You know, the paint job is spot on. The use of techniques is flawless. And okay, the rope is too thick, but that is an easy change. Like the wheels on the trailer, that is an easy change. And ultimately that is what makes this stand out. Like, any of us could do this build. This is the standard we should be pushing ourselves to, okay? Clean, effective, solid execution, all right? Well done, Kev Williams. Thank you for taking part this month, and congratulations for taking first place. A massive prize of Modelmatic cars is on its way to you. So who was the titan that we ground to a halt trying to pick against? I mean, come on, could there have been anyone else? Of course, John had to pick your friend and mine, Molinaro Dominique. And this is the thing, this is the light to the darkness, isn't it? This is the foil. This is the face to the heel. This is the other side of the coin, boys and girls. It is beautifully executed, but it just doesn't scream Gaslands, does it? That's the issue. And while we love Molinaro, we love your work and we want you to keep entering the competition. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You need to rust up and dirty up and wasteland your builds more. Because, okay, the body in the acid, that's pretty Wasteland. And the figures are very Wasteland. And the rust around the wheel arches is very Wasteland. But unless unless someone told you that this was a Gaslands car, there's a good chance you'd just think it was a bit of a crazy, trippy, acid-infused kind of fever dream of a build, wouldn't you? I mean, the flower coming out the pistol, it didn't have to be a flower. That could have been a bullet. I mean, that's a wonderful smoke effect. And this is the thing. This is the splitting hairs. This is the art theory versus art ethics. It's just nailing the Wasteland side of the theme rather than the wacky Wonderland side of the theme. Because I can't fault you, Molinaro. The execution is to die for. And I need to take you on myself in a battle of the ages, surrealistic nightmare wasteland competition build. Like, we need to have a head-to-head on just who is the most broken inside when it comes to this. But at the same time, it's... if Mick Van Fyven's entry was well executed but didn't really match the theme, because the convertible aspect is so small compared to the rest of the giant swamp walking monstrosity that is in entry. Yours is too trippy, acid, 60s inspired peace and love, and it's not Wasteland enough, and that's what we want more of. I mean, hey, John absolutely loved it. The colours are on point. The execution is beautiful. The tongue, you could just rub your finger over that and feel the little gross little nodules coming off the front of that tongue. I love it. But it doesn't scream Mad Max. It doesn't scream Wasteland. It doesn't scream Gaslands enough. And that's where you need to take your builds now. Reel it in a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much. Just a little bit. So there you have it, boys and girls. Yes, the battle of the ages has finally been decided between Kev Williams and Molinaro Dominique. But you know what? We're into August now, boys and girls, and I'm taking you all on. So come join me once again. The month is almost over. How long we got now? Like 10 days? Because it's the 28th of August that this ends. My goodness. So come, brothers, join me now for August's Car of the Month competition, and I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you and goodbye.